Hey everybody, welcome to the little bit of relationship insight for today. I'm Shane Burkle, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how your emotions are not the same as your reality. And what I mean by that is that oftentimes we feel something and our brain really quickly tries to make up something being true about that. So, and this is based on previous experiences we've had. This is based on things that we've gone through in our life. And it makes it really difficult for us to make good decisions in the moment sometimes, or to have a sense of what's, and especially in our relationships, it can easily lead to blaming or shaming behavior of the other person in the situation. Let me give you a couple examples of what I mean by this. Let's say that a few years ago, I was walking, this isn't true, but I was walking around at night in a particular neighborhood, and I was robbed at gunpoint. Somebody came up to me and robbed me at gunpoint. And it was a really difficult situation for me and traumatic situation. And so now it's 5 years later, and I find myself walking around at night in the same neighborhood as where the robbery happened. And I have a flood of anxiety come up. And what my brain makes up about that is that I'm in a situation that's not safe. And I need to go somewhere safe, go to safety. So now, the reality is that as I'm walking around, I'm completely safe in that particular situation. But my brain is trying to prepare me for something in trying to keep me safe in that situation. We have the reason our brain does this is to try to keep us safe, and it's a good thing, that when we sense danger, we move away from it, or fight or flight, oftentimes. And so it's a helpful thing for us in our life, but sometimes because of all the experiences we've been through, we're off. And now this happens in relationships a lot. So let's say that I'm working with a couple where one person's family is really loud and outgoing and, says whatever's on their mind. And the other person's family that they grew up in, it was really quiet and polite, and no one really said anything that was on their mind. Now, neither one is right or wrong, but if they start dating and the outgoing person brings the shy person to his family for the first time, their emotions in that situation are going to be very different. The outgoing person is going to walk into these 20 people who are in his family and say, hey, this is great. This feels like home. This feels good. And the shy person who's never been in a family like that is going to walk in and feel overwhelmed and flooded and maybe some fear about what to say or do in the situation. And so they're going to come into my office later on, and she might be describing, the shy person might be describing, can you believe how obnoxious this family was? Can you believe blah, blah, blah? And he's going to be saying, can you believe that she didn't just, talk to all of my family members, and she wasn't open with them, and it made me feel like she doesn't care about me. So each of them has different emotions about the situation that are informing their reality. And instead of actually checking in with those emotions, they begin to blame or judge the other person. And so we do this all the time, no matter how small the thing is, and it depends. If you grow up with in a really critical family, you might sense criticism when your partner isn't even attempting to criticize you. If I come home and my wife says, hey, did you take the trash out this morning? It might just be a question, but I might start getting defensive and trying to explain myself or argue back or argue to begin with, if she wasn't trying to argue with me, because I'm afraid of the fact that she's blaming me or criticizing me or telling me that I wasn't enough. I didn't live up to the expectations in the situation. So we have to be really careful about that. And one of the best ways we can do that is to talk about our emotional experience, is to say the emotions that are coming up for me, this is my stuff, this is my reality. And what would be helpful for me is, and coming back to this idea that I'm not stating what's true, I'm not stating what's real, I'm stating this is my reality. and checking in with my partner. What's going on for you right now? What can I do to make this work better for you? And so it's a consideration about the fact that we're having different experiences as we live through the same situation together, that there's no right or wrong necessarily, and that it's not a boundary violation, right? And that would be a whole other episode that I'll talk about, because if my wife grew up in a certain type of family and I came home, she could say something like, "I can't believe that you didn't take the trash out. What is wrong with you?" Which would be a boundary violation. That would be a shaming comment, though that would be hurtful. And so no one has the right to cross over someone else's boundaries. No one has the right to be harsh or hurtful to another person. And so oftentimes, if she just asked me the question, "Did you take the trash out?" what I feel is that it's a boundary violation. I feel that I'm being hurt. But it helps, especially if you're in a trusting relationship with someone, that we get really, really precise with our language, that I would say, "I feel hurt. I feel hurt. When you ask me if I took the trash out, it feels like you're blaming me. That's what's coming up for me. That's my experience. That's my reality." And so we get away from the blame and the shame and the judgment, and we move into that conversation where I want to be open with you and connect with you about my reality, so we can make this work better for both of us. So just some thoughts for today. I hope you guys have a great day today, and I'll talk to you again soon.